because I think the greatest sin of Mike Tomlin recently is not finding that quarterback post Big Ben. I thought he always waited too long when Big Ben was at the end of his career, and that's really led to what's been going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I always said that when you talk about Pittsburgh, there's nothing worse than being in the middle. Either you need to be bad so you have an opportunity to go get a high-end quarterback, or be at the top of the game. And so when you don't have a quarterback, you don't have an identity offensively. And so for a young guy coming in, you're kind of looking to, okay, who can I go to as a resource to see how this thing is done? He talked about, the guys on the defensive side, because that's primarily been the idea of the Pittsburgh Steelers over the years. But as a running back, you want to be able to look on your side of the ball, see, okay, how do we go about doing things? If I have questions about what we're doing schematically on this side of the ball, who do I look to?
Yeah.
They didn't have anybody.
Yeah.
You're not going to look to the wide receivers, the one position group that's really been kind of a problem from a diva perspective on that side of the ball with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think indirectly he was talking about Mike Tomlin.
Well, to me, it doesn't matter whether he was talking about Mike Tomlin or not. I'm not so sure about Woody, but I will say this to you. I had absolutely no problem with his comments, and neither should anyone else, because of the climate of the National Football League. Saquon Barkley's situation notwithstanding. Saquon Barkley is a rarity. He's an aberration. He's an anomaly. It's not normal. Where you go to a team, they take care of you. They show you the respect that you warrant. And then after that, you go out on the field and you perform at an elite level, and they say, here's the bag, because you deserve it, as opposed to simply holding something against you no matter what your level of production is because of the position you play and your birth certificate. This is what they do in the National Football League for the most part. You turn 30, for example, you're done as a running back. They don't even care how you look. They just say you're done. Najee Harris is 27 years of age. He's had 4 years in the National Football League. He's run for over 1,000 yards every single season. And over the last 2 years, he's averaged at least 4 yards a carry. Those are respectable. Now, I know he was expected to be a star, and he's ended up being just an average player. But we have to respect the fact of what he was saying when he talked about the climate and the conditions and circumstances under which he was working. You haven't had a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger. And even the last 2 years of Ben Roethlisberger's career, people could easily say he should have retired. He was a shell of himself and Big Ben and what we came to know and love and will ultimately celebrate when he enters the Hall of Fame. The fact of the matter is, when you looked at the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Mason Rudolphs, Kenny Pickett's, Mitchell Trubisky's of the world, for crying out loud. Then you go out and you get Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Justin Fields, who's on the come up but isn't there yet, and a Russell Wilson who most people believe has passed his prime. This is what Najee Harris has had to work with. So if you're opposing defense, you know this better than me, Woody. You stack in the line of scrimmage. You're not expecting the Steelers to be a big-time bona fide threat of throwing the football. So you can't free up stuff for your running back the way that the team could. He's going to the Chargers. That ain't an accident, because you got Justin Herbert throwing that damn football. You know that brother's going to throw. He's the franchise, okay? And they want him to throw the football. That's going to give Najee Harris opportunities, just like if he had gone to Buffalo, just like if he had gone to Baltimore or Kansas City. The fact is, he was in Pittsburgh, and because of the situation that existed in Pittsburgh, it put him in a trying situation. I have no problem with him coming to his own defense and explaining himself that way. He did nothing wrong.
All right, let's go from one tough division.
Made him famous, and he was his teammate when he said them. And so, Bart, I am told you have things on you to get off your chest, things you can't wait.
Greeny, I tried to get here Monday. That's how pissed off I was. I am tired of the disrespect laid at the feet of the defensive players. It's time to set the record straight, and I got a lot of stuff to say.
So who does it start with?
It starts with Joe Burrow, a.k.a. Macaulay Culkin. Listen, we all love the beautiful story. Listen to this. Oh, I love you so much. Get a sack. And tell you what, you got to get the ball back. If one thing the Super Bowl taught us is that offense wins games, defense wins championships. While he's showing all the love to his brothers there, he's spitting in the face of Trey Henderson because he should be advocating for him. At what world, D. Wood, do you pay the second receiver on your team before you pay arguably the best defensive end in all of football. Last year, 17.5 sacks, over 57 sacks over 4 years, and this guy's the 55th highest paid defensive player in football. Disrespectful. Pay the man his money, because at the end of the day, we saw this movie before. I remember it was a time when it was T.J. Houshmandzadeh, and it was Chad Ochocinco, and it was Carson Palmer, and they went nowhere. And eventually, Carson Palmer asked for a trade. That's what we headed for. I got a lot more to say about that, but I know I got to move on.
But but let me get it. Did you agree with that? Do you think that they should have taken care of maybe they still wound up taking care of Hendrickson? We'll see. They gave him the permission to seek a trade. I don't think that's really gone anywhere so far. We're going to get Fowler in here a little bit later, so we'll ask him. If they don't take care of Hendrickson, if for whatever reason he winds up gone, did they pay the wrong guy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a travesty. Like, you're talking about one of the best defensive players in the league. Like, here's the thing. I don't want to hear Joe Burrow or anybody on offense cry or complain anymore. It is all on you now.
Yep.
Like, it's all on you. Y'all got all these weapons, but then got a wet paper bag on defense. So don't say anything come the season.
Okay, that's the first thing that you're aggravated about. What's the next thing you're aggravated
about? This hurts me because it comes from my hometown, and we don't play this soft stuff. With this reseeding, best record, let's go about it. Because
the Lions playoff proposal,
Yes, because, listen, how did we go over the best record? I know you were on the other side of it, Woody, but I want you to remember this. We was in a division where the Patriots basically had 3 homecoming games or 6 homecoming games a year. So what I'm talking about, when you think about certain divisions, when you go over the best record, your strength of schedule has to matter as well. So the fairest way is to make sure that you win your division, because sometimes your division is going to be really good. Sometimes your division is going to be really bad. Sometimes you're going to have one of those easy schedules where you're going to play another division that's weak. Just imagine you play the NFC South, and then you got to play the AFC South as your off-schedule game. Those are homecoming games. Yeah. That doesn't mean that you're the better team. That's almost equivalent to like if we take the MAC conference and they go undefeated in college and they become the #1 seed. We would all laugh at that.
Okay, I was with you on the first one. The second one I'm not 100% sure I'd go with you on, because A, those things rotate every single year. They're unpredictable. B, the problem that I have with it is when you got a team that's 8-8, or now they play 17 games, with a team that's 8-9 hosting the playoff game against a team that's 12-5.
Win your division. What if we talk about in the division? The NFC East is a really tough division. They're going to be knocking each other off. That doesn't mean that they're not better than another team. But you have to win your division. Win your division. That's been the most tried and true way to do it. It's always going to be outliers.
Didn't I tell you yesterday? That's the message that all the coaches get to players.
Win your division.
Win your division.
Okay, we got one more, and for this we need a dramatic. I called it a reenactment, but it's actually just going to be an enactment. Jack. So Jack, get out here, Pineapple Jack.
First of all, I've been seeing a lot of offensive players and even defense players
talk a lot of smack
about the tush push. And what makes the tush push unfair is because you have one side that gets to push not once, not twice, but 3 times. And on the other side, as a linebacker, I can't push my fat daddy right here. What would be the equivalent of this is if the defense had their version of a tush push. Defensive guys could do this all day.
All right, so
centers are snapping.
Yeah, and he's the defense. Okay.
Imagine if I have Jalen Carter right here. Damon Woody had to snap the ball and get his hand up to block him, but he gets a jetpack on the back, and I push him back. He's going to get it, and you're never going to be able to get a playoff. What if the defensive players did that? We would hear the offensive players complaining about that. If we want to have a tush push, I should be able to push my guy on the other side. It's like playing one team gets to play tug of war with 8 players, and the other one gets to play with 4 players. You get the tight end to push, and you get the running back to push.
I am so delighted that I've got someone on
Let me push
against the tush push. D-Wood, what is your response to that? Because the reality is, if they let they don't let the defense do that on extra points.
No. He's been on the receiving side. They outlawed it. We used to put 2 guys over the center. As soon as he has the ball, we smack him in the head, and we have one person on each shoulder, and we would push them back, and they would just literally get stepped on.
Yeah. What do you think of that, D-Wood?
And they took it out because they were complaining.
Stick that in your big offensive pipe and smoke.
I have no response.
Well, so he's right.
Like he brings up a good point right there. Like,
should the defense be allowed to do the same thing? The defense to get the linebacker.
Yeah, let's get the linebacker. Let me push. We all pushing.
Yeah. How about that? What do we think of that?
Let's do the push.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, I live my life in between these 8 gaps. This ain't about who's the toughest. This is an unfair advantage. Listen, we can decide this one-on-one. Your running back beat me in his goal, and let's see who the bigger man. But when you get the push and I don't get the push, it's unfair.
I think I finally have my winning argument over here, D-Wood. So is that? Can I just clarify for this? Like, the defense is not allowed to do the same thing, right? I mean, right. Frankie Lou was jumping over.
Right, because he can't push.
Right, because he's not allowed.
So he just gets people in his lap. He got to catch.
Right.
He can't have resistance back. I got to try and find a hole to get in and get penetration.